Hi, I'm Brandi.
I'm Stephanie.
And this is your weekly dose of BS.
You guys, I have a story.
Yes.
I am so excited about this story because Trey was messaging Brandi and I yesterday, and I was like, no way. There's no way this is accurate. And then he sent us this really video where you couldn't see somebody's face.
It kind of feels really weird just in general because I don't know, y'all know that last week I was in Salt Lake City.
Yes.
So, and going out and stuff, everybody was like, oh, we're inviting Jen here, and I'm like,
Listen.
oh no. And then yesterday, the big surprise.
Oh my goodness. And this is such God giving me a gift on a rainy Tuesday morning. So I randomly went to this coffee shop that I love in Grapevine called Redefined. And I go there maybe once a month. And so I'm sitting there, and across the coffee shop, I'm texting on our group message. I'm like, I think I see Coach Shaw. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, why in the world would he be here? It was just kind of weird. And so now I'm interested. Now I'm like, is that him? Is it him? And I'm kind of like, I'm not staring at him, but I'm like glancing every now and then. And he catches my glance. Well, then he puts his hood on, and I was like, ooh, okay, now you're somebody and you don't want me to know about it. So I get a little bit closer. I go get my coffee from the coffee bar, and his screensaver is UU, which is University of Utah.
And
I was like,
Trey Googled what UU was, and he figured it out. Yes.
And so I'm sitting there. He now has his hood over his head. I've confirmed it's him. And he's looking at the door every minute or so. But he's been there for 15, 20 minutes.
Because he's a coach there, right?
Yes.
For those that don't follow the show
coach?
like me, I don't follow the show.
He's a football coach. And in our group chat, our producer Mike was like, wait, is it basketball?
I thought it was
football. Is it football?
It's football.
I don't know.
Only because then I started Googling.
Yeah. Our producer Mike was like, go say something to him. And I was like, well, first of all, I was going to congratulate him on his, basketball career. So glad I didn't do that. But also I was sitting there, I was like, man, this poor man does not want to be seen. I am probably the worst person he could have run into yesterday because I was like, ooh, I know you. So I'm sitting there. And he is waiting for someone to walk through the door. And I was like, I'll be damned if I leave before that. I will miss whatever other meeting I have today. I will sit here until he leaves, and then I'm going to follow him. I didn't follow him. But sitting there.
I so wish you would have.
Oh, could you imagine? I'd be in jail right now.
So Trey's messaging us, and he's like, I am not moving until this person comes because he is definitely looking for somebody to walk in the door. So Brandi and I are like, okay, you stay because you have nothing better to do with your life, and we need this for tomorrow's podcast.
And let me just say, if it was either one of you two at the coffee shop, one, you probably would have recognized him, and two, you definitely would have left. So I was like, praise me.
If it would have been me, I would have thought she was 100% coming to get me.
Oh.
I would have been like, I need to exit the building. You have a back door.
1,000%. So finally, my big moment led up to this guy walks in and sits down next to Sharif. And I was like, oh my fuck, who is this? It was a man. I don't know who he was because I don't follow sports, but he had a TCU jacket on. And then it hits me. I was like, he's trying to get a job to be closer to his little criminal. First of all,
oh my gosh. So he's trying to get a job at a Texas
Texas school. So if you don't know, which I do, Jen is going to federal prison in College Station. Now, she picked that because they have a drug and alcohol rehab program, which when you're in federal prison, you can only get a maximum of 15% knocked off of your sentence, which is a year. But if you go to this drug and alcohol rehab situation, a lot of lawyers push for that even if you don't have a drug or alcohol problem because you get an additional year off your sentence. So of her 6.5 years, she will probably only have to serve about 4.5 of those years.
Yeah, because it would be 5.5 for the 15%.
Now watch out because now she's coming for you.
So this saint, I know, right? Taking the heat off you, Brandi. So this saint of a man is trying to find a job that is about, College Station is what, 2 hours away, so that he can be closer to his wife. So that just really, I was like,
but is he a saint? Because I saw some things, I was telling Stephanie over New Year's, I'm like, oh, look at all this stuff as I'm laying in bed, not feeling good with a hangover. I'm like, look at all this stuff. Is he a saint?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Because in some of the stuff that I was showing Stephanie, it showed that, she was getting legal advice from her husband during all of this.
Because he was a lawyer.
Yeah.
Before he was a football coach. So,
I don't know.
Maybe.
I
don't know.
I don't know because I just know that she hates me.
Well, so I posted this on my Instagram story yesterday, and I got more questions. People were like, where is Brandi? Is Brandi safe?
Brandi safe?
You have Sharif. Where's Jen? Is like put Brandi in lockdown. She's so we're so happy that you're here today.
Yes, I am. Yeah, we were worried.
I'm not gonna lie. I went and locked my doors, and then and then when I got home later that day, my front door was wide open. Like after I
checked the closet.
My gosh!
And I was like, why is the door wide open? I still don't know why, but.
Well, I was sitting there and I was like, I obviously didn't want to go say something as he's interviewing for a job, but I was just like, do I go tell him how amazing this is for me? Do I go congratulate him on I don't know what? But I left the man alone because I felt bad for him. Obviously, he did not want to be seen because no one in this coffee shop had their hood over. It was very like, okay, now I know.
Well, also like meeting in Grapevine for people who don't live in Texas, it's kind of on the outskirts. How long of a drive is Grapevine from Dallas?
And so here's what I figured out is that is like the closest coffee shop aside from a Starbucks to the airport.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think this man just flew in. He had like a briefcase looking suitcase with him. He like had a coat and a hoodie on. He looked like he came from the airport, but he was very much here to apply for a job.
We know, and Grapevine is like the Christmas capital of the U.S.
It's like Happyville.
He's like, I just came to see Christmas Town.
Well, and I'm sure he's like not in Dallas. I'm sure I won't run into anyone that I don't want to see me. Well, guess what? I found you. Nice man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Trey
Maybe he's not.
of all people. So Trey was like, I don't know if Jen Shaw was in town, but I could be completely wrong. But I'm pretty sure that whenever you are going to jail somewhere that you really can't leave the state. Now, you said she could go to New York, but that's only because whenever she went to New York, it was for work or for the court. So I think that's very different, but I don't think they're like, oh yeah, just go travel all over the U.S. and
she can't leave the country because they took her passport when they arrested her, so she hasn't had that passport in a while.
But
and that's why all the Salt Lake City girls were so ready for her to go to jail. So like, we want an international trip.
They've never had an international trip.
No, and they made it a point. They were like, we're just like,
They need to go somewhere really big, like Maldives or somewhere huge for their first time outside the U.S.
So this was obviously a huge moment in my life, arguably one of the greatest moments of my life. And I just got finished watching this new. I just got finished watching the new documentary. It's an Impact documentary. That's who makes. I think they do like a series. Stephanie told me about it, and it's very good. So if you were following this trial like I was, there was a camera that walked behind the gates when she was going into jail, and people were like, "Ooh, they're Bravo cameras." They weren't Bravo cameras. They were from this Impact documentary, and this documentary follows some of the victims, and they're kind of sharing their story, which is so sad because a lot of these people. Well, one of the ladies did not take her mask off, and she was like, "I'm not doing this because of COVID. I'm doing this because I'm so embarrassed that I fell for this, and I don't want to be humiliated the rest of my life, but I also want to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else." And this lady said that she lost half her savings. Another lady lost $90,000, which I watched that before I watched the finale. I don't know when the finale came out, but it really changed I almost felt bad for watching the show because it was like this lady who lives in the middle of nowhere in California paid for us to all be entertained by Jen for so long. It was weird.
Yeah. Well, also part of that documentary, I think it was in the documentary, it said that there was a 90-year-old war hero.
Yeah.
And he lost I think it was $100,000, and he actually committed suicide. So he actually killed himself after, which is so, so sad. And his family said they think a lot of it's just because he lost everything. Through the scam. It's so sad.
Hey, Stephanie, did you watch the finale?
I did. Well, Trey told me I had to, so I did watch the finale. I've not watched any of the season of Salt Lake. I'm going to be honest, but I did watch the finale. They honestly should have started it because it was some choir thing that wasn't very entertaining, but they should have started it in New York for court because what happens,
I wanted a 2-part New York finale.
Yes. Because what happens, Brandi, is they kind of do maybe 15, 20 minutes of the episode is the regular show, and then they end it, and then it shows with Heather, Meredith, and Jen in New York for her trial, and she's sitting there with her mom crying, and then her mom's I guess her mom sold everything to kind of bail her out.
That made me so mad.
Is that right?
So before she goes to New York, they kind of follow Jen the whole day, but they start at her mom's house. She's sitting on her front porch steps, and her mom's praying over her, and Jen's just I'm going to know in 24 hours what my fate is. And her mom's like, but you're innocent. And Jen's like, And her mom's like, but you're innocent. Like, you're going to be okay. You're innocent. We know that. And it was interesting because in the Hawaiian culture, you're very much honoring your elders, which is so ironic because the people she was stealing from were elders. So her mom just kind of keeps leaning into that. And she's like, your elders are looking over you and all this stuff. And it's wild that she even has 2 castmates come to New York with her. They say, we're just here to support you. We know you need a support system. She's over there shitting on everyone that hasn't supported her and called her wrong. Meanwhile, the producers are doing this shady flashback to all this stuff where she's like, I'm innocent. Da, da, da. And then that's the last time you see her, is before she goes to court. She does not film anything else after she goes and pleads guilty. So then you're just left with Meredith and Heather sitting there like,
yeah.
Well.
And then they have a scene with like Lisa and maybe it was a Heather, and they were kind of in shock. I will say, I think the saddest part always is for the kids. And also, like, if her husband did not know anything, just say for somehow he did not, like, that is a miserable thing to, I mean, like that ruins your career. That ruins, I mean, you know, TCU, if they are looking, I mean, they know all of this, right? It's very public.
Yeah. And like, what is, I don't know what the backlash has been at his current job, if any, really, but I think moving schools, it's going to draw a spotlight to him. And
But at the same time, if you have kids, you want your kids, I would want my kids to be by their parents, the other parents. So I get why you would want to move to Texas.
Yeah.
But
why is it
where
apply at A&M? I
don't
wish you
know.
would have asked him.
Trey.
Y'all didn't send over questions. I should have gone live then. Been like, reporting live
Yes.
from Sharif Shah's job interview.
Like, go sit really close and just
Go
stick
Frogs.
your phone right there.
Yeah.
So wait, where is TCU? Because I'm from Oklahoma. Fort Worth. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What is it? Texas
Christian University.
Christian. Is that where you went?
No, I did not go there.
Okay, but you
I'm
went to
not
a
that smart.
Christian. You went to like a Christian university too, though, right?
I went to Texas Women's University.
Okay, Texas Women's. For some reason, I thought you went to the Christian one too. Texas Women's Christian University. Okay, so Texas Christian University. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting.
It was good. And so now she's not doing this one-on-one sit down with Andy, which I understand. She posted something on her story saying that basically Bravo refused to remove the part of the contract for the one-on-one about how they can spin anything the way they like. And y'all both know those Bravo contracts are brutal. But Bravo also wants the ability to tell the story however which way they want to tell it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think her not doing that, 1, I get it. But 2, you got restitution to pay, girl. Like, and if she thinks that we're going to be buying a book that she wrote in jail 12 months from now,
Brandi, would you do a one-on-one
will,
if you were her with Andy?
I would not, but I mean, she may need the money and be able to work it out, but knowing them, they have her locked in.
I wonder how much you get paid for a one-on-one. Or if
I
you
don't
get
think
paid.
with Andy, you would get paid anything.
Like, I would not do it for free.
I
But,
know.
I mean, she could work something out.
But what's the restitution? Is it like $6 million or
$6.5 million.
6.5? I mean,
Plus, there's something
That's a
else
lot.
that the judge added on to, also in the millions form, because they've seized $6.5 million.
okay.
She owes another $6.5 million, but there's something else like a fine or something that's in the millions that
I just
she's
feel like
going to be paying.
she's going to bite herself more in the butt if she just keeps running her mouth.
I do too. I mean,
You're guilty, so own up to it and just
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Start
Homegirl's
paying
hoping
people
for
off.
overcrowding or something.
overcrowd. Well, I
Like
mean,
in the-
regardless, you still have to do your time. I don't think they're like, oh, we're busy here. You go home.
Well, sometimes.
yeah.
But in federal,
I don't know. I mean, she
I-
didn't kill anyone. Well, don't know.
I have to go look up that jail and see how nice it is.
Well, I just want to, it's not the nicest. It's not like a Todd Chrisley prison, but it's not like, orange jumpsuits.
Stephanie sent me this link about prisons, and then I went and looked at them all. One prison in another country, they have like dance parties and like.
Oh my gosh, yes. So if you guys look up the 50 nicest prisons, you'll be shocked.
I like read about them all. I'm like, well,
There are-
Can you transfer me to down in San Miguel?
Right?
No, I think that's the one. Like they
Yeah,
have
it's like-
dance
like
parties.
dance parties,
all
and like
the
it showed like
time.
the prison mates like
Yes.
up in the club.
They have so many. You're right. There was one in Switzerland. It was nicer than like most hotels that I stayed in when I was younger. It was not bad. I mean, there are some prisons that are, and I heard upwards of like, 6 million she has to be back.
I know, and then it was like, in one of them, so whatever you were born to do kind of thing. Like, I don't even know. Like if you wanted to be a chef.
Oh, like trade school.
Trade school, yeah. Like you got to do those things, So that'd be fun to be like, oh, yeah, I want to cook for you today. Or,
I mean, I would go out of prison being like a professional chef, a professional, like whatever
you could be
they have.
Into fitness while you're there. You could be a librarian while you're there.
I'd be all of them. I would be able, my resume would be so big because I would be so bored.
Now, this is
I would learn how to do
interesting.
everything.
So Tony wrote it and said, I would think that if Whitney's husband was fired, then one would think that Coach would have been fired too. Yeah.
So that's the weird thing. I think colleges usually don't like to be, any schools I think don't want to be associated with scandal.
Right.
So I guess it would really depend on how the college, that's why he could also be looking for a job.
Right.
Teresa did start a yoga class in prison. That's true.
See, I would do what Teresa did. I would learn everything.
She took advantage of the opportunity.
I wonder if hers was one of the nice ones. There are. You guys really should Google nicest prisons. It's amazing.
Well,
why are you sending me this? Do you know something that I don't?
People are asking what Brandi has in her hand. Those are not a pair of panties. That's a face mask.
I'm sorry. So I was just trying to protect my. Actually, I'm embarrassed of them.
She's hiding
not to be seen. I have a cold and a cough, and I was just trying to be, somewhat.
Oh yeah, she came in today and she was like, I have a little bit of a cold and I've been coughing, so I brought my face mask just in case you guys would feel more comfortable. I'm like, please do not wear that. That would be so awkward talking to you with that thing on.
Okay, Tiffany just wrote in the best idea. She said, I think We Close to BS needs to take a road trip and check out prisons. What a fun spin-off show that would be.
Could we do that?
No.
There is a show called like Locked Up, like 90 Days In or something.
Yes.
No, I don't want to do that.
I would never do that because you have to join like a gang or something. Like everyone has their own little areas I have to join. I would be killed so fast.
Okay, so I have one more a little hot story to tell you, and then we're going to start taking some questions. So if y'all have questions, go ahead and start typing them. Our producer's going to set them aside so we can get to those in a second. But I read on Demois, Brittany's selling her new $12 million house. She never left the living room that we know and love where she films videos, okay?
Stop it.
But she bought this $12 million house right after she got married. And it's in the same neighborhood as Kevin Federline, but then nothing ever happened. We still see the same living room, the same old 2012 drapes, like she hasn't moved. Well, they put it on the market, just said Brittany didn't like it, blah, blah, blah. So I read this blind item on Demois that the reason they bought the house was to sell it.
For what reason?
Because in the prenup, Sam gets half of whatever is acquired after the marriage. So the whole thing is they bought this because she is not totally free of a conservatorship, by the way. There is still, it's just not her dad. She is still in a conservatorship. So the whole theory is that Sam is being paid as like her handler. And now when they sell this house, he will get $6 million.
Really? Are they divorcing or
No, they're just not moving in the house. So the whole theory is they never planned to move in. And this was the conservatorship's way of giving Sam some of his money without there being a real trail.
Interesting.
I don't know. That's just the rumor.
That is so.
What are your thoughts? I think he's sketchy. I think it's weird how TMZ had that video of her in the restaurant and then he's all of a sudden doing an exclusive interview with TMZ like the next day. It was just weird.
I mean,
I think he's fishy. Brandi, what are your thoughts on your bestie,
No,
Brittany?
I know.
Also, before we started this, Brandi sits down and goes, I was texting Brittany, and we were like, Spears? And she was like, no, it wasn't. It was no one even related.
Not even close.
We were like, Aldine? What?
Like, who is this Brittany? Like, it was like one, whenever it's like Madonna. Like one, it wasn't the first and last name. It was like, okay, it has to be like famous Brittany.
Yeah. Nope, it wasn't.
See, that's how I play with them.
So what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on Sam?
I mean, he's a very good-looking man, very attractive, but I just don't. I guess it just doesn't make sense to me. But I know love is love, so. But the whole thing just doesn't make sense to me.
No, I mean, if he loved her, he would not let her have
he
her.
Never posts her, which bothers me. I mean, I don't even think, did he post the wedding day?
I think he did of himself, and then everyone was like, you're a horrible person. And then finally he put a picture of the two of them in. But also, like, okay, so you're married. If you had your Instagram like hers where you're like, the Jean and Titney Spears were out, like, wouldn't Brian be like, stop it. Like, I'm going to do you a solid. Like, you're looking crazy. It's time to put some clothes on. But
you probably be like, this is amazing.
Something is very sketchy, though, about Sam. I agree with Jennifer. And if you go in this whole...
say, this is amazing.
If you go on this whole TikTok, like, rabbit hole of theories, people are saying that he is actually married to this girl that he's claiming is his sister.
What?
Which
There's
is weird.
no way.
Well, do they look alike?
No, but something with her last name. People, TikTok will
Maybe she's
figure
a
you
sister
out.
from another mister.
Don't they
Maybe.
have, because I'm sure you researched, don't they have official marriage license and court documents?
So the theory is that they got married not in the United States. They got married before he moved here.
But what?
No, but Brittany.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean,
I think they have a marriage license, but you could probably still be married in another country, right? Like, I don't think.
No, that you have to Google that.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that is
Am I wrong?
illegal to marry multiple
it's-
people.
Unless, isn't it in Utah, can you be married to multiple people?
Yeah.
Well, is it
See?
legal in Utah or not? I feel like we need to ask
Yes, it
Whitney
is.
next time we see
Okay.
her. Yes.
Well,
Because if so, I mean, I feel like that one show about the polygamous is really going downhill because everyone divorced him. So Sam and
wives.
Brittany and his other girl, they could create their own.
little sister wives with all their
sister
mansions.
wives. Yep.
All right, I love doing this live because I love just having our viewers, our listeners interactive and asking us stuff as we kind of go, because when we sit here, we just don't really all think of these things. So we'll be right back with some of your questions right after this.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. I love therapy. I think all of us have been to therapy. Actually, there's not one person in my family who has not been to therapy. That's how much that my family loves therapy. And what I love about therapy is that you're able to discuss things that maybe you wouldn't feel comfortable discussing with your friends or family members. I know for me, sometimes I feel like a burden if I go to people with my problems because I know people have enough of their own problems. So they don't want to hear me complain about my life or stress about my life. So I love the fact that you can see a therapist, have somebody who can listen, give you advice, and just help you navigate life, because life is so hard. And I think, especially with kids and the way the world is not like a warm and fuzzy place.
Well, I feel like sometimes you don't want to take your problems to a friend. It's nice to talk to someone that's an outside source and get their advice.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It is convenient, flexible, and affordable. I have done traditional therapy, and it is so expensive. And I love that this is an option where you can talk to a therapist on the phone or video chat, and you don't have to leave your house and go to an office. And if you live in Dallas, traffic is really, really bad. So I like the fact that I'm not in traffic all day long, just going from one appointment to another. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/weeklydose today to get 10% off of your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/weeklydose.
Okay, so I want to get to some questions that you all have submitted. So the first one is, if you guys did a Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, what other housewives would you take with you? And I want to add to this, where would you want to go? So Ultimate Girls Trip started filming in Morocco this past week.
That's a fun location.
So who would you take and where are you going?
I mean, I love Kyle, Tamra. Who else? Stephanie.
Sonia would be fun. I think she's just super funny. I would just want fun people.
I know. I think it would just.
We
be
need
fun
one
people.
person that just loves to stir up drama, though.
Glanville.
I was going to say her too.
I feel like she's a staple in Girls Trip.
I like Brandi. She's always been nice to us.
Actually, you know who I would love to see you on that trip with? Is that lady we met. Oh my gosh.
Who?
What is her name? The psychic. Allison Dubois. Bring back Allison Dubois and send her on a trip. Give her 7 days, lock the doors, and see what she does with them.
Yes.
Like, I think
I would
only a few would walk out.
completely love to watch. Yes, I'd love that. I would love that. Stephanie, do you still watch Real Housewives of Orange County? I am excited to see Tamara back. I think that the show needed her. And I also think it's good when housewives go for a few years and then come back, because people always want them gone. And then they're like, oh, wow. They think then and only then do you see what value they
And that'll be the Lisa Rinna situation too.
I do see Lisa Rinna coming back in a few years.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I also think, kind of like whenever you break up with somebody, you grow more fond of them and you realize the qualities that they brought. I think Tamara is good TV. I love Tamara. She's actually so nice. And she's one of the very few people in the franchise that I will say that I met, especially early on, who were just like went out of their way to be kind and inclusive. And I really appreciated that.
I'm also very excited to see Taylor and how they.
Oh, yeah, did she come on as a friend of?
Yeah, and how they kind of intertwine her old life and her new life and what that's looking like now. Oh, question, Brandi, will you do a finished house tour?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so when are we looking at it to be done?
So we were supposed to move in February, but we had a hold up with cabinetry. So hopefully, I don't know, March, April.
That's good. I feel like everything is always, like with homes, it always is so much longer than you think it's going to be.
My husband and I are having our first baby this summer. What tips do you have for new parents? Ooh.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, having 4, I feel like I needed all the baby gear in the beginning, and then slowly after the 3rd, 4th, like you don't even need half of the stuff that you get. Like you just need, even my babies use the dog beds, like just lay down, like when you're around the house, like it's crazy. So I feel like you don't stress out if you don't have everything, like all the bells and whistles, because it's just.
Yeah, I would agree. Like even like bassinet, all that, like you use it for such a short period of time. Like I agree. And then you kind of realize after the first one that my mother-in-law has this really great saying, and it is, if children were really that fragile, there would not be third world countries. And I agree, because we think we need all of these things, but over in other places, they don't have all of these like crazy, contraptions for babies, and they manage just fine. So
yeah,
I think people go a little crazy.
Biggest little trick is, which I don't know if it's considered safe, but babies love to be warm. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I would get up my baby when it was newborn, I would say feed or whatever. I would turn on the heating blanket. So then the crib, when you lay them back down, would be nice and warm, and then turn it off right before you lay them down. Make sure it's not too warm. But and then they just, because as soon as you set them down, that's when they tend to cry, because they're like, oh no, I'm going away from you. So that's a good trick.
The one that Travis always liked was the one where you strap them in. I forget what it's called, but I know now they have like a million. Bjorn. The baby Bjorn, it was his favorite thing. And that was my favorite thing because I didn't have to carry the babies all the time. But he would do walks. I didn't get a fancy stroller either. Like I feel like a lot of the stuff that you want, like you do not need. Yeah. Like just get a stroller that can easily fold. Like you always had a really good stroller.
Hannah asked, when are we coming to Chicago? Chicago has a lot of snow right now.
Oh, I love Chicago. Chicago has a lot of snow. Chicago is actually my favorite place that we went to whenever we did the tour.
That was fun because we went to Happy Camper and they did that Housewives game night. That was fun.
That was so fun.
It was so much fun.
That was a good one. Okay, Addison asked, Team Tamara or Melissa?
Teresa or Melissa?
Oh yeah, Teresa or Melissa.
I don't really know what's going on with that. I've seen things where they're fighting, but I don't know the backstory. What is it? Are they still fighting over the cookies?
No.
I didn't even know they were fighting, but I feel like they're always fighting, so never mind.
I don't know. I'm honestly not caught up either. I think, they didn't go to the wedding, which I think that's weird. I'm going to go Team Teresa because I do think that Melissa joined the show without talking to her behind her back. I think there's a lot of betrayal there.
So she feels like she can't trust her.
Yeah. Okay, Stacy asked, are you surprised by all the success with Ultimate Girls Trip? I love seeing different housewives from different franchises together. I was surprised to know how many housewives already knew each other. And then how do y'all meet? So I guess let's go last question first.
Okay.
How do you meet other housewives?
It's you get invited to different events. You do the upfronts, you do media, that type of stuff. And then a lot of times we'll connect and follow each other. And then if we happen to be in the cities, we'll end up hanging out, going to have coffee or drinks. Mm-hmm. It just kind of happens naturally.
Like even if you're on What Happens Live with somebody else from a different franchise, you kind of get to know them that way. Like Andy's Baby Shower, that's how you met kind of everybody. And
you're all in this very unique experience together. So you're kind of like, will you be my friend? Because no one else relates to the kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like where you're looking for other people that understand what you're going through too. So what are y'all's thoughts on the success of Ultimate Girls Trip?
I love it because I think it's a way to see housewives having fun, which is kind of what it was in the beginning. I don't know. I think it's kind of, and also it's whenever you do the show, you have to film for 3 months and it's hard to like have the energy to go that long. So I also like the fact that it's short, sweet. They get a paycheck. You get to see them on vacation, which we all know whenever you go on trips together, that's when all the drama happens, right? So, why not go right for the juicy stuff?
I think it's genius because you lock these ladies in a house for 7 days. And so it's almost like Survivor meets Housewives. Like,
see what happens. Yeah. I think they're good at casting too. They always kind of know who will butt heads. I feel like they do a good job casting.
Kelsey asked, what other housewives would you like to meet?
I'm fine with meeting everybody.
I want to officially meet Sutton. I love her. She's so sweet. Also, Garcelle. I like both of them a lot. I love them, but I've messaged a little bit with Sutton back and forth. I'd love to meet her.
Did you see
there was
the
a question
photo?
before that we missed, though, about Kelly Dodd. I personally love Kelly Dodd. I've hung out with her quite a few times. I think she does absolutely speak her mind and does not care. And I think that's an amazing quality that someone can have. And she doesn't change who she is or how she feels for popular opinion. And I appreciate that.
I've met Kelly Dodd one time, and she was really nice to me. I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere in New York. I think it was right after Watch What Happens Live. I went out with Travis and some girl from The Bachelor that I was on Watch What Happens Live with. And Kelly Dodd was there with her now husband. And she was nice. She was really lovely.
He was just in a real scary car accident. Her husband
really?
Was, he's okay. All right, this is probably our last question. Hannah said, did y'all hear the rumor about Deandra and Mama D filming their own RHOD reboot? Deandra says she bought clip-on microphones and iPhones.
Oh my gosh, my daughters bought those clip-on microphones and they vlog the cheer competitions.
That's so cute.
And it's so horrible because then they give them to me after the cheer thing, and then I'm trying to watch the videos that I take, and it's me going screaming like, go! And I'm like, oh no, this is horrible. They're like $35 on Amazon.
So I'm guessing, does that mean that Deandra's filming her own reboot?
I've not heard anything about that. So
those little suckers work. I'll put up the link. You can all vlog.
Megan said hello from England. Oh my gosh, if any of you are from other countries, where are you from?
What time is it in England?
Yeah.
No, I have not heard that about Deandra, by the way. But
yeah, I've not heard anything.
I did see that she's starting her own clothing line or something like that.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Styled by Simmons.
Yeah. Oh, you're good, Trey. Yes. Oh, thank you, Addison.
Well, you guys, I think that's all we got for today.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for watching and supporting. And
let us know if you like these lives.
Yeah. It makes
also,
it
if
fun.
you didn't know, you can watch our podcast on YouTube. We're on YouTube at Weekly Dose of BS. And then Stephanie, where can we follow you?
Steph Hollman on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook.
And at Brandi Redmond. And I don't really do much, but you're welcome to follow.
And you can follow our podcast at BS the Podcast. Bye.